Erudia, an ancient land where gods walk among men. A living, breathing, high fantasy world that we want to put into your hands. But we cannot do this alone. In order to bring you back to what tabletop is about, combat, exploration, adventure, we need your help to bring it to life. By supporting us on Patreon, you can support this project and the cast of Moonskull, with our promise that we will answer to the only people that matter. You. Legend Seeker, your legend starts here. Forge your path. Shape your destiny.
Hello, I'm Frost. I'm here to talk to you about Legend Seeker. I said words, so it is summoned. Abba Benji! Abba Benji! Hello, Benji. The happy boy. He heard me talking and he's immediately like, I'm visit. Hi, I'm Frost. I'm here to do writing on Legend Seeker, but someone has different ideas. His idea is snuggle and purr. Buddy, it's going to make it hard for me to write. You've been ignoring me for the last 15 minutes when I tried to get you to come over here and I start talking. And you show up? You dork. Anyway, Floofy Tail, we're going to work on some lore for the Legend Seeker RPG. And that's what I'm doing right now. Besides petting a cat and trying to keep his tail out of my mouth. You are not a musical instrument. Benji. He's got quite a purr, though. I've just got to say, he's got quite the purr. I don't know if you guys can hear him. But he's got a crunkle purr. Good boy. So what should we work on today? I was working on shoring up a few more things in a couple of cities right now, but is there something else you want to work on, bud? Something else that sounds really good to you? Besides snuggle the cat. That's not right. No, yes, you can snuggle, you can nuzzle me, that's fine. But that's not really going to help me get any writing on, is it? He's a happy boy. Yeah, so I was working on a couple of things here in the document. I'm using Google Docs again. Blech. And playing around. Oh, he's nuzzling. Okay. What are we doing? Going down there? Okay. I was shoring up a couple of entry here because I noticed there were some misspellings and some weirdness here. Hey, buddy, yeah, go ahead. Choose a spot. Choose a spot. Problem with Benji, it's a good problem to have, I suppose, is he wants to be petted constantly. Like, he wants constant, like, motion. Like petting. Even if it's light. If I stop, I get headbutts. And I get and smacks and claws. Are you going to stay? And then he reaches out and tries to take my soda. So, I may be doing some piecemeal stuff today. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out here. I got Blitz Calvino'd earlier. Now I got Benji'd. We'll see what happens. We shall see. So for this, I fixed this. I was doing an entry about about the Hafenwold, the Havenwood down here, where once when he was a mere man before he became a god, he led his people in the little village that he lived in to safety in the Havenwood from some rampaging orcs. Yeah, bleh, Google Docs. Bleh. We'll see if people end up blurping me in this stream. They were blurping me in my stream earlier because, well, they could, which was entertaining. I don't react exactly like Erudia does, and I'm not sure if I have things set a little differently, so they couldn't find some of the things they were looking for, I think. Just gonna say. Anyway, yeah, going through a couple of these, I cleared up a few different entries. I took a few notes, and I actually cleared a couple of old notes out because I had answered them. So yeah, I'm just going through these entries here. AI is so dumb. Like, you put the word witch here. Do you mean with? No, I do not, sir. Stupid, stupid, stupid AI. Stupid rat creatures. Benji, yeah, if you lay like Salvador Dali clock off of my lap, you're gonna just slide onto the floor, dude. So use that spine. Use those claws. Well, don't use the claws if you can help it. All right, Hearts. The village of Hearts sits amongst the breathtaking beauty of the mountain range. Okay, there we go. I have a typo there. Hi, sir. Yes, accusatory Benji face. I'm not petting you right now. Yes, I know. Go ahead, rub your head against my hand. That's fine. You can pet yourself that way. There we go. All right. All right. The village is the Windsplit Rocky Tors, and the lands near the village, which is itself situated on top of a flat and rocky hill. Almost a fort in and of itself, the small village is a common resting spot for hunters and scouts who patrol the Hearts Range for orc and other monster incursions. Famed for their light cavalry units that navigate the terrain with surprising agility, the clan that rules this village and lands are fierce and swift both in war and social situations. Which is why Raymond is kind of an outlier, because he is not exactly swift, not exactly the most agile. He is a little bit of a mountain. Benji, you're such a dork. Here. Yeah, you got yourself caught. There you go. Famed for their light cavalry units that navigate the terrain with surprising agility, the clan that rules this village and lands are fierce and swift both in war and social situations. Okay. Argument started in a rat house in Hearts. We'll say the because they only technically have one. It's a small village. The rat house in Hearts can span days. Adjournments for feasts and drinking between the sessions is the norm. The boisterousness of the arguments is rivaled only by the spirited nature of the after parties. So they like to argue there. A bit. A bit. Hello, Benji. You are being kind of a pain right now. Good job. All right, we got the small folk. We got the old fort. Horse Bridge. So that's Hagenfeld. All right. I'm just trying to go through a couple of these because I had notes and I think I hit them all. Hagenfeld here. This is cool in this little oxbow area here. A farming and horse trading community at the heart of Freiland, this town is within hiking distance of more ancient Freilundian ruins and forts in the hills than anywhere else in the kingdom. This run of hills was once home to the ancient Freiland capital Freiburg, long before the God-Killer War, but it was abandoned for the more defensible Gutbarg. Now, the reason I'm here is I am changing this because when I rewrote the story, this place was not that. Ancient Freilundian fortress, Freiburg. Long before the God-Killer War. Let's see, what's a good name for this guy? Let's go look at oldie-timey Germanic names. If you see me fighting here, it's because a certain cat is rolling around on his back and like kicking his legs and stretching and just enjoying the heck out of himself and moving my arms around. You dork cat. You dork cat. Cat's quiet today, but it's mostly because Chrysanth can't carry on by herself. She's sick, you see. She's got the muppetosis. It hit her voice first. Oh well. People. And she gave me a straight face. All right, what do you think is a good name here, Benjamin? Okay. Dang it, wizard. Hey, buddy. Kitty. You're a good boy. If I scratch them along the rib cage under their arms, most of the time, he and his brother are just like, and they do the Superman pose for me. Of course, then they want more of that, so I have to be judicious in the application. All right, we're going into, oh, there aren't a whole lot of names that start with that letter. Hi. I wonder if this name, there's a Latin, okay. I don't think. I don't think that word is going to work. There we go. Bam. All right. Okay. Huh. Hi. What do you need, buddy? Okay. Is that going to work? Let's see. See if it works. Oops. Let's hit the button. Let's hit the button, Benji. Does it do something? Okay, the Run of Hills was once home to the ancient Freylandian fortress Freiburg long before the God Killer War. Okay. All right, so built long before the God Killer War, but after the reign of Hagen, it was the seat of a tyrant named Ulrich, also known as Huldrych the Godless. Huldrych the Godless. What do you think, Benji? Do you think he liked the gods? You think he liked the gods? Did he like the gods? He might have not liked them. Talking to Benji is fun while I'm writing. Sitting here shaking him, like. You'd think that would annoy him with me just shaking him, but he's just sitting here going. Making air biscuits the whole time. My buddy. Are air biscuits your thing right now? Okay, now he's taking a bath. Maybe I've calmed him down. I don't know. Hi. Hagenfeld is built on the shores of the Green River and is protected from the north by the ancient Agrine rampart and sturdy Freilander timber defensive walls. And ancient Agrine. It feels weird to say the ancient Agrine rampart, but yeah. The hoardings on the defensive walls bear similar motifs to most Freilander towns and forts, including masterful carvings of the land, legends, and wildlife. This area of Freiland has always been known as horse country, and numerous horse breeders and ranchers operate in the land around the town. In addition, a significant number of small folk have farms and orchards in the Midlands near Hagenfeld. They are considered full citizens of the kingdom. Hi, what? I did a meow? No, he's just going to reach out to me. He's like, I don't want to talk. Like, you're on camera. I'm not talking to you, buddy. All right. Horse Bridge. A stone Agrian bridge connects the northern and southern shores of the river. The arch is large enough for small trade ships to maneuver under. It's named for the ornate horse and rider sculptures that decorate the pilings. He's such a cute cat. He's such a small cat compared to Benji, too. All right, the Old Fort. The Old Fort overlooks the town from its raised hill, a craggy stone edifice known as Hunter's Rise. The garrison of no fewer than 4 dozen warriors mans the fort at all times, but it can hold most of the town's population if necessary. The Horse Gate, the only gate into the town from the North Fields. The King's Road enters through it and continues south through Hagenville proper and then over the Horse Bridge towards the South Fields. It bears masterful carvings of rearing horses and decidedly Freilundian decorations on both the towers and the massive gates. The only gate into the town. That works. Yeah. Similar to the Horse Gate, this wooden gate protects the town from incursion from the South Fields, closing up the King's Road with the small bailey on the shore. I think. The North Fields. Yeah, that works because the Horse Gate is up here. River Gate is down here. Yep. The road to the south is used less by traders and more by locals, so it is not as well maintained as the King's Road to the north. Horse markets. Say, I found a mistyped word. Horse markets. There are 2 main horse markets in Hagenveld. One focuses mainly on working class animals, and the other on racing and military animals. Rare to visit the town and not be able to find horse flesh for sale, though they don't often come cheap. You can find horse meat on the hoof. The wharf. The riverside is home to a multitude of fishermen and their families, and they ply the waters around the town responsibly, following both the dictates of Arendor and Nya with respect to maintaining a balance with nature. Fishing in both the Green Lake and the river itself yield great harvests each season, and their goods are sold all throughout the area. Island Fort. Okay, the stony island that sits just offshore of the town is the site of the old Agrian watchtower and signal fire from the time of the Godkiller War. The signal hasn't been lit in anyone's living memory, but it's prepared and maintained by a garrison of scouts on the island. These scouts are charged with patrolling the river and the lake all the way up into the Green Hills and can be on assignment for weeks at a time. I feel like I'm reading a bedtime story about weird history to a kid. And it's just a fuzzy cat sleeping on my lap with his belly up in the air like, pet me. Right. Temple of Vulcan. The largest temple in the town is the one devoted to Vulcan, built in the Agrian style long ago. It is one of the only standing reminders of Agrian rule that remains intact besides the fountain's crossroad plaza. The Temple of Nya. Wooden Temple of Nya also exists in the town, though it is much more modest in size than the one to Vulcan. What do you need, buddy? Making meef noises. If you want something. What? I see. Yes, you're very excited. You see his little paws coming up here? He's like reaching. Ah, yes, you're reaching for something. I know. You want something. I don't know what you want, though. What do you need, buddy? I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work on writing. Trying to work on writing, buddy. Huzzah! It's a Benji! It's a Benji. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, now, see, you don't like it. When I move you, you're moving me around. He's like, but I didn't want this. Silly cat. All right, where was I? The Shrine to Arendor. Like many Freilander towns, Hagenfeld's is a shrine to Arendor outside of the town walls. This one is a large standing stone, draped in vines and flowers just off of the King's Road. Hagenfeld's Rathaus. The Rathaus of Hagenfeld is connected to their fair and market grounds and features a large wooden clock of gnomish make on the front tower. Inside the Rathaus is an unusual collection of giant remains and weapons from the God-Killer War. Most outsiders don't know about the incursions from the Hill Giants and their goblin minions during the God-Killer War, or the battles to drive them back into their lair at the ruins of Freiburg by the hero Otto the Black Hand. See, little thing there. Somebody reads that entry, they'll come back and be like, wait, who's this Otto? This Otto the Black Hand. Why does he have a black hand? Why did they call him this? Why are there giants down here this far into the place? They come out of the hills? What? See, look at that story. Oh, just got here. Chat is interesting to say the least. Well, chat is chat. Oops. Hi, Benji. Jensen, Benji, if you wonder why I'm all fidgety, it's because I've got a Benji. A Benjamin Button. Hello, Benji Banjo. Sometimes he's Benji Banjeet. Sometimes he's just Ben. Sometimes he's Benji. His many names. What do you need, bud? He's my cat with the Assassin's Creed mark on his face. Oh, buddy, are you not going to show the camera your face? Here, put your face up. Everybody see your little Assassin's Creed face. See? Beep, beep, beep. It's you. All right, buddy, you going down? Where are you going? Are you going that way or this way? I would suggest this way. There you go. Chat is Chrysanth. Chat is Chrysanth. He has chatted it. I'm going to go see if he wants to go out, and I'll be right back. So you get chair for the moment. You get chaired. Because he's doing the... All right, buddy. Do you want to go out? Or are you going to go hide if I try and let you out? All right. And he made a little bit of a mess right when he went out because he stepped in the water dish and had wet paws. So I picked him up and I have wet catty paws. Meow. So I'm going to use a wet wipe here. I don't have to go anywhere else. I'll just wipe my hand off. Clean off the detritus. You were trying to be nice. Oh, it was nice of you to be nice. Look at you. How you doing, Jensen? Just gotta let my hands dry off here. Hello, Sassy Witch. All right. So while I'm writing here, I'm on a snack of some sort. What am I gonna have? I have a lot of snacks next to me. I think I will hit the biggest snacks. I have a small bag of meat sticks here. You can see them. It's only 2.5 pounds of jalapeno beef sticks. Sorry about the crinkly noises. It is not a quiet package. So I'm going to eat spicy jalapeno. That's the baby bag. Exactly. You should see the big bag. And how? I do have a small box of these. Yes, I buy meat snacks by a box. This is 2.5 pounds of meat sticks. Again, I seem to buy things in 2.5 pound increments. And talking about backups, like when I was railing about Google before, this is the thing I was trying to find. So I have these for each of my stories, my novels and stuff. They're just a plastic waterproof container for this. So this is one of them. I just have them printed out with all my notes. You can see all the little notes and things in there. So that's what I was trying to find the other day when I was showing you guys backups. Backups. Tried something that didn't turn out quite right, but it's tasty. Tasty? Okay, is this food? I'm hoping it's food. All right. Reinstock. All right, Einstock is over here. Now, I had that as a village. Let's say a farming town. And this place is kind of a big deal because it heads towards the Elven lands. And it goes north. And it's south. So it's a big crossroads. When you say a small bag of something, I think if I eat all this in one sitting, it may be a little too much. Yeah, if I ate all that in one sitting, I'd be in trouble. Orange, banana, cream cheese, 2 eggs, vanilla, and powdered sugar. Interesting. I mean, the orange, banana, and cream cheese with vanilla would be interesting. Adding the eggs, that takes it in a different direction. Like a weird frosting. I've had a very nice, like an orange zest cheesecake before, and it's pretty good. Oh, and cream. Yeah, well, cream would be important. A bit. What are you up to today, Valrock? Are you, I don't know, making miniatures? Also, I'm curious, since Chrysanth wasn't there and she can't report back to me, I pinged Erudia and asked if I messed up his luck in that game last night. He didn't respond. 24/7. All miniatures, all the time. Water bath. All right, Wold is up here. Originally founded as a lumber camp, weathered the years to become a trading post between the Elves of Solanor and the Men of Fryland. Never seen him roll so well. He had every single attack with Sturges. Well then, I guess I should have actually jumped into the voice chat and cursed him instead of just saying it in chat. And then he kicked me out of the chat. Because he realized I was still in there. Haha. Aldholm is an outpost built around the Agrian border fort that once protected the great city of Praesepe, majestic human port city long since destroyed. So Praesepe is, all the ruins of it are here. Chris Hans was making us think about being there, so he'd kick me. That sounds just like a gypsy. I made no such stink. Jensen, do you get to wear a baker's hat, or do you just wear a little cap? I'm curious. We all want to know. And is there a small rat in there pulling on your hair, running the show? We got from in there twice. That would be a problem. Praesepe, major Agrian port, which did brisk trade with the elves and supplied the mainland of Friesland for generations. Great Agrian city lies in ruins scattered across the eastern coast of the Paludist Directa, known to most as the Great Delta. Within sight of the island of the Great Tree. Once a fertile headland, the great city was destroyed during the Godkiller War. Now you want meat sticks, just not hot. Well, don't get these. So, the ruination of Praesepe came not at the hands of Grixis forces, but at those of the great dragon Morgoth, who tried to enlist the aid of the great city against his nemesis Viridithra, and the elves who she had allied with. Since he could not move against her directly within the lands of Solinor, he unleashed his fury against the great city of Praesepe and the beautiful wetlands it spanned. Let's change that wording. A single day night of rage, he systematically tore the city and its magnificent bridges apart. As the people fled to Solinor along the coast, fled to Solinor, and along the coast of the neighboring kingdoms. Viridithra and the elves watched from a distance as the Agrian metropolis was sundered by his fury. Agrians have never forgiven their former elven allies for not intervening. This dislike has festered for nearly a millennium. We'll say over. So, the Agrians do not like the elves of Solinor a whole lot, as a whole. Not all of them. Some people get along just fine with them. The Frieslanders do not like the Agrians because they left them and abandoned them during the Godkiller War. And so, you know, the elves and the Frieslanders kind of have a thing there. They're like, hey, neither of us like the Agrians a whole lot. All right. Treasure hunters often ply the delta in drier seasons, hoping to find long-lost items amongst the ruins. We'll say and treasures. Because who doesn't want to be a low-level group of adventurers setting out from Aldhome, going into the ruins of Presepe in the Delta here, and looking for treasure and fighting the goblin? Because that's one of the other little adventure things I want to pitch in either in this document or if we have quick start adventures or something. I gotta chat with Erudia and see if he wants those, because I have a whole thing on rumors in this, and I wanna pick his brain and see if the rumors are enough for me. But if we want to put in, hey, here are 3 small scenarios for areas, 1 for low level, 1 for mid level, 1 for high level, or if we just do those later. Guess we'll find out. All right, so what are we up to next? What was the next entry? Dunberga. I'm just going through, since I changed a bunch of stuff in the background history of the kingdom, I'm literally going through each one of these entries to make sure that, like that last couple, I didn't change something that made something completely invalid. Dunberga. The great mountain forest of Dunberga has never fallen, even during the Godkiller War, though Grix never directly brought his power to bear against it. Fortress protects the secluded Horse Vale, a lush and fertile valley that can sustain the population that might inhabit Dunberga during a siege. Dunhafen, an ancient Agrian coastal fort. Dun, 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 right here on the coast. It's a main mustering point and training grounds for the majority of the Fryland's standing army. It also lords over a great port where nearly half of the Fryland Navy is stationed. So that is a super important place, because that is one of their biggest accesses to the coast. Dunholm is the last fort before the wildlands of the north, way up north. Dunholm is a squat stone fortress which narrows the path southwards with an extended wall and secondary fortress. Nearly 100 men man this fort at all times, as they use Dunholm as a training ground for militia from the marches. Patrols on horseback foray from Dunholm daily, often venturing more than 10 to 15 miles or returning. Boer, named after a famous marshal that lived in the days before the Godkiller War, Dunboer is the oldest Frylander fort still standing. Not as large or as grand as Dunberga, it protects the mines of Göteborg and a secret pass through the Harz Mountains between the feet of Mount Sulstow and Mount Oggen. So this is where that sneaky little pass goes up through here, which most people don't know about. You guys don't tell anybody. Secret. Stop. Do not tell. Nobody's saying anything over on Rumble. I'm going to go say something on Rumble. I'm going to throw a dancing banana. So there. Nick has been quiet. There. I put things in the chat to see if anybody bites. Unrelated to that, by the way, I went on to X the other day, and somebody randomly posted a thing about Jedi Academy. And I was like, and I just mentioned offhand, I loved working on this, blah, blah, blah. I have gotten lots and lots and lots and lots of follows and messages for that. I was like, oh, it's nice knowing people still like those games. There's still a super active community of people that just still play multiplayer in that. It's amazing. It was a very fun little trip down memory lane, let's just say. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze suddenly. I don't know why. Why? Oh boy, that is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. All right, so sorry, just checking a note here, and it doesn't make sense. Oh, okay. I added that to. Oh, I see what I did. I added that to a totally different entry. Okay, never mind. It's just me stealing lore from myself and moving it to a different civilization. Ha! Look at me, lore thief. You didn't wear a toque. Not really a thing anymore. Do wear a skull cap though. More practice. I don't know. Used to make skull caps. Yes, I am bored. I'll convince the studio to remaster those games with tighter gunplay. Well, you know, the thing is, that is about half of the people are like, hey, when are we getting another one? I'm like, well, you go talk to Lucas and LucasArts and all those people. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Wow. Sorry, I just got sent a note about somebody who said there was a guy who's. Wow. Some person of a specific political persuasion said it would be really good to, once they get power back, to make laws to allow for the execution of people who support other people's political positions when they regain power. And he has now been fired from his position as a sysadmin for, I don't know, someplace. Like, wow, people, just wow. Take it down a notch. I still haven't played the new Jedi games because I was disappointed after it was first announced that they're going to be spiritual successors. No, but I have to say the stuff they did with Cal Kestis, or Cal, is it how you pronounce his name, with his little robot and stuff? It's not a bad story. I mean, it's not a like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing in the world, but it's kind of, you know, it was fun. Some of the puzzles and things were a little weird, and the Jedi, I guess, that trained him was, I'm like, whatever. It was a little, I'll just say, not very good. Oh yeah, people can't help themselves. They have to be the center of attention. Exactly. Like me. I can't help myself. I have to be the center of attention. Are you watching me? Look, that's exactly where I need to be. Because what is the term the kids use these days? Iconic. You got to be iconic. Otherwise, what's the point of living, right? Right. No. No, this was just some dude who made things up and said things. All right, so that is very strange. All right, and okay, so that note, yeah, okay, I'm set there. Good, I covered all these notes. All right. Donvelt, the fortress protects the northern iron and coal mines of the kingdom, essential for keeping the army and the people supplied. This fortress is manned by mostly veteran foot soldiers and horsemen. Horsemen, that's up here. Where the mines are. The horsemen, they yearn for the mines. We're almost through all these entries, I think, in this here. So Austin, easternmost city of Fryland. It is a major trading post and border fort which guards the eastern roads. We'll rename. We'll reuse the name so we're not just using stuff. All right. Fairies here, a dwarven maiden, travel back and forth to the towns and villages of Senna's Fall constantly. We'll just say year round. Great Bridge of Austin is an ancient agrarian construction that nonetheless is hardly large enough to handle all the trade on these roads alone. Like the villages across the river, this Fryland town features a dwarven defensive tower with a delegation, or where a delegation from Silvermont resides and conducts business from. Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy. There we go. You've made me happy. So I have played a bunch of those other games, and some of them kind of fun. Austin Wold, which is south. If you look on the map, you can see it just down here. Boop, boop, boop. Austin Wold, across from High Spring. South of its larger namesake, Austin Wold is a satellite village built around an ancient agrarian vicus. Trades mainly in grains and ales, though the fishermen are known far and wide for their catches. The main feature that brings visitors to Austin Wold is the ancient agrarian bass, which are still maintained and used to this day. Now an independent. Now an independent entity from Austin. It trades mainly in grains and ales, though the fishermen are known far and wide for their catches. Okay, there we go. Good modern revival of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Oh, that would be nice. That would be fun. Man, I played the heck out of those. Back in the day, when one of my friends got a new computer, it was a 486 DX266 or something like that, and it had like a CD-ROM, and it had all this stuff in it. We'd go over there and we'd hang out, and if people were busy doing something, a couple of us would hop on the computer and play X-Wing. And I would, while one of my friends was flying around doing stuff, I'd be his R2 unit, and I'd just sit there with my hands on the keys for the shields, and we're firing, and it was my job to keep the shields kind of aligned for him. And so I would just do that. It was just fun. That was a while back. In fact, one of the photos of me from work, like during my first year, I think it is, you can see a copy of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter on my desk and a joystick right next to me. Because amazing. All right, we've gone through all the entries here, and I corrected everything from the changes I made to the background. So I guess what I'll do then is I will hit the entry for the government quickly and move on. At the head of the kingdom of Fryland is the king or queen, who is referred to as Marshal, a throwback to Marskalk or Marskalius, an ancient Fryland and agrarian words for a horse servant or tribal leader. He or she is served by the Hrosfjord, the lords who watch over the territories of Fryland at the royal family's pleasure. There are 6 members on the council, corresponding to the 6 fjords that Fryland is divided into. Each Hrosfjord has a number of local chieftains that control his or her lands, pledging fealty yearly at a moot, where they strategize, make treaties, hold weddings, and pay their taxes. Current king is Sigurd, also known as Sigurd the Red and Old Crowcaller, for the crows that followed in the wake of his battles against the invading orcs in his youth, their numbers feasting upon the mounds of dead invaders. His wife Ragna hails from Grenewald and is a devout follower of Kika. Their daughter Saxa is a high priestess of the Temple of Kika in Göteborg. All right, they bring an element of mischief and joy into his otherwise dour existence. The 6 Fyrds of Freyland are Frostfeld, Grenewald, Dunstow, Barrowick, Ulfheim, and Svartson. The Fyrd that contains the lands surrounding Göteborg is Frostfeld. It extends from the eastern shore of the river bordering Thornwald, includes the northern mountain fortresses Dunberga in the east and the northern shore of Lake Hagen in the southeast. Grenewald, this Fyrd encloses the entirety of the Kingswald, Mordecai's throne, and the Black Hills. It ends at the eastern river across the shore from Silverton and south to the Golden Hills, just north of Austin. Dunstow, this Fyrd controls a good portion of the agricultural heartland of Freyland, including the towns of Hagenfeld, Austinwald, and Austin, which we just talked about. There's an ancient valley and temple to Arendor in the Great Hills in the center of this Fyrd, from which it draws its name. The Great Valley is essentially an outdoor amphitheater of natural beauty and power, unspoiled by mankind. Berwick, this Fyrd contains the land of the southeastern coast, including the Hinderwald, Port Barrow in the south, up to the land surrounding Austinwald in the north, as well as Port Rach. Port Revenge! Wolfheim, Fyrd contains the Thornwald, Dunbor, and the village of the Wald in the south. It follows the river bordering Solnor in the west, the river bordering Frostfeld in the east, and ends at the northern shore of the river Ain in the south. Whoops. No, here we go. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. All right, so I wanted to add an entry here. This. How do I want to write this? How do I want to phrase this? Godlands does not have an I in it. Okay, and it'll say one day. All right, this Fyrd contains the Thornwald, Dunbor, and the village of the Wold in the south. It follows the river bordering Solnor in the west, the river bordering Frostfeld in the east, and ends at the northern shore of the river Ain in the south. This Fyrd is essentially the homeland of Freyland, the original boundaries of the small kingdom that would one day come to conquer the middle lands of the Godlands. Because this area in here was where the humans were before Ogden the Spear took on the orcs and basically conquered everything all the way over the river, separating it from Senna's Fall, and drove the orcs out. All right. Where are we at? Yeah. Fine, you want to chat here? Let's chat. Fine. There's your Rumble chat. Fine. I fully expected Dragon to come in here and start throwing like screaming epic mics at me, but he's probably living his best life and doing something with a furnace right now. All right, Svartstund. The rocky southern coast of Freyland is encapsulated within this Fyrd, including the port town of Aldholm, the river town of Einstock. Oh, I should probably spell that right. Yep. River town of Einstock, the fortress of Dunhafen, and the ancient Hafenwold itself. All right, I have a whole bunch of stuff in here that's a bunch of place name suffixes and prefixes. or other languages, which I'll probably take out of here one of my next few passes, and I'll just move it on to other places. You must leave now. Good luck. Thank you very much, sir. Have fun out there making the minis. How difficult is it to come up with this with the Lord? You and Erudia discuss, or he giving me creative? He basically just said we need a world, and I just made up a world. I started with an idea of where the tectonic plates for a planet would be, where the equator would be, laid out a bunch of stuff. You can kind of see the tectonic plates in here when you look at how I drew, you know, the water around here, you know, the darker parts where the plates come together. And there are other continents over here, like off to this direction. You can, there should be one almost visible over here. There's others down here as well, because this is just a portion of the world, and I have this kind of artificially flattened out up here. But there are a few other continents, and they have their own tectonic plates, and I just started working on it. They decided to focus in on this part because this is where the godlands are, and this is where the gods decided to, when they created the world, they were like, this is where they wanted to be. This is where they started living, and the people, for the most part, were like, this is where we're living. But in the lore, there are orcs, there are men, there are other creatures like the lizard folk and stuff who just were like, this is beautiful. But what's across the ocean? And they started spreading out. So everything started here, and then people spread out. So there are other continents over there, and there is trade, and there are all kinds of stuff. When I'm writing this stuff up, we're just not even talking about that stuff right now. It's just basically focusing on this area, and it's almost like pretending those places don't exist at the moment. But I just came up with different places and cultures and ideas and stuff, and just started throwing maps and things together and just working on it. So, I mean, normally when you do these things for a role-playing game, you have a team that's like working on the lore of a world, which is why I decided to work on this huge part of the world, but not the whole world, because I would never get it done if I was doing the whole world. That'd be another year or two. But as it is, I mean, I've been a DM for like 44, maybe longer, 44 or more years. So coming up with worlds and stuff is just, it's just, I do it. I can't help it anymore. Sounds like Erudia, all right. Yeah, we got the basics. This is where all the war happened. So the interesting thing is the other parts of the world where people went to before the God Killer War, some after the God Killer War, are generally untouched by that. There are places, though, where Grix and the other gods did go and do things. So they didn't totally stop here, but most of everything that happened in the God Killer War happened around in here. Most of it. Most of it. We'll just say most. All right, so I've gotten into that. Now we're going to go up into Dwarf Lands because I did some work the other day on a couple of things. And I have to make sure that I didn't break some of their lore either. So Mount Silvermon is basically, it is a mountain of silver. The idea is Silvermon is a silver mountain. They have massive mines of silver and gold and other things in here. And the one of the big things about these dwarves is it's all metals. These mountains and hills and everything are just insanely rich in metals and some gems. The dwarves who split off and went in their own place over here, where there was another little group, these mines definitely have metals in them. Not as many metals as over there, but these are gem mines. They have like vast crystalline caves and gem mines and things over there that these guys don't have. They're both craftsmen. They're known more for like riches and jewelry and beautiful things and all that. These guys are known more for beautiful things that can be used in war and just beautiful crafts. More I hear, the more I'm glad I joined it. Mythic tier. I think the group I play D&D with like the system from what I've heard. Good. Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you for doing that, by the way. That helps Erudia get going on the art even more. The art is just, it's such a bottleneck. But it's a fun system. And I'm interested to see what people who, like, there are people who have, you know, kind of an ingrained, if they play D&D, you know, there's things ingrained prejudice against certain classes are like, oh, we'll try out some of these classes and see what you can do with them. I think people are going to enjoy the Saren Monk. I think people are going to enjoy the Cleric. The Noble is actually a pretty fun class. Some people don't like it, like Dave didn't enjoy it. But I think it just doesn't fit his play style because it's a class that their job is to control and mess things up. They're kind of a control, not really a control class, kind of a control class, but they really affect how things happen on the battlefield. In the Warriors, unless you're Chrysanthemum, you get hit like a mountain falls on you suddenly. You can just stand in the middle of the battlefield and you can kind of own an area of the battlefield, and things will eventually be like, I don't want to go over there. And then you move to them and you make it your life to just cause them pain and suffering. So it's fun. It's kind of like being the rock in the stream that everything's moving around sometimes. Let's see, Mount Silbermond. So I wrote this up and I made up kind of Dwarven language. I am not a linguist, so it's just made up gibberish. But I wrote down Gothdaug Silber und Gothdaug Gulber, or Alber. The river of silver flows outward so the river of gold can return. So it basically literally means silver ebbs, gold flows. So they send out silver and it brings gold back to them. So basically to them, it's like a constant ebb and flow of money and wealth and whatnot. Moria. No, not quite Moria. It's these places are beautiful and lively. That would have been nice if Erudia didn't keep critting. Oh, one of the things that I do have as a note is the dwarves have sent more than one expedition to other places. And they have some failed colonies in other parts of the world that are, oof, these family a book of grudges. They don't really deal with grudges, only because there's some horrible tragedy facing the dwarves since the God Killer War, which was 1,300 years ago. And that war has taken a massive toll on their people, because the tragedy hidden beneath the stoic faces of the mountain folk is that no dwarven child has been born in recent history. They were cursed and technically kind of sterilized as a race because the gods found out that they had a part in freeing the Soulforged. So Grix was mad and used some horrific magic with the help of some other beings to do something to the dwarves as a whole. So after the war, their birth rate was kind of low anyway, because their dwarves, it has just dwindled and dwindled and dwindled in the last 1,300 years, so that it is rare for a dwarven child to be born. But most people don't talk about it because it's pretty touchy. So it's a big thing that people can play with. They can, you know, go one of two routes if they're going with just the big ticket item in their psychology of, there is no way I'm going to go out there and risk my life. I'm going to use the rest of my existence to just make beautiful things and do stuff, and this is dumb. And the other dwarves are like, well, what's the point? We better go find a cure for this. And the only way we're going to find a cure is by going out and looking for it. So adventurers fall into that second category, usually, if they're going out and doing stuff. Some of them are just like, I don't care. I'm just going to go out and try and live an amazing life until it ends. You know. So since this was done with some magic from the keepers, most of the people and most mages and wizards have no idea and can't find a way to reverse it. Death cures all things. Dwarves are slow to anger, but even slower to forget. I am. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people remember too that. I think what did they do in the Lord of the Rings movie when the riders came up and surrounded Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas? The thing that really pissed Gimli off is they were speaking bad about the witch in the woods, and they were making, kind of insinuations that Galadriel was a bad creature, a bad witch. And he was really upset by the slander, not just randomly like pissed off at them. And so they were kind of coming to her defense, and that is what caused the little bit of anger there. So those angry dwarves. All right, so let's see. Dwarves have multiple kingdoms, blah, blah, blah. Mount Silbermont is known as the River of Silver to most non-dwarves. It got its name from the seemingly endless wealth that has always flown out of it and into the Godlands. The main export to other lands is stone, however, as they tend to keep their precious metals to themselves unless used in coinage. Situated in the floor of Mount Silbermont, Starkad is the seat of the Dwarven Kingdom's political power and the home of the king. All major trade deals are ratified by his council and they are negotiated here. The Dwarven rulers make no treaties or deals in the lands of others. They require all supplicants and applicants to come to them. While this has caused no end of hurt feelings and political strain over the centuries, the rulers of other kingdoms understand the vast wealth and power that the dwarves possess, not to mention the generous gifts always given out at these meetings and ceremonies by the hosts. What better way to get people to come to you of saying, yeah, you have to come here to make a deal. It's going to be a good deal. And you might get a present. A present? Franchise continues. Are guys worried about the dwarves completely dying out? No. Now, here's the reason, is because some dwarves left these lands to other places and may or may not have been affected by this curse. And also, everybody knows that there's always a way to reverse everything because it was keeper magic that did it. Somebody will find a keeper magic way to undo it. So they'll have their children of men moment somewhere in the future. You just know it. A good story has to have that. What are the special allies that are available in this game? I have a bunch of things written down in my notes about the kingdoms and some stuff that was written. I wrote up in Vulcan, because he's the god of creation and inspiration. I don't know if they're going into this book specifically. Because right now, the idea I know from Erudia side is that when you get stuff in the book that he's doing, the Keeper's Tome, it'll be kind of agnostic to the setting, mostly. You'll have normal weapons, most things made of steel and whatnot, because there's not a whole lot of reason for anybody to be running around with a bronze blade in this day and age. Most of the stuff that was made after the God Killer War is kind of like not as nice because, standards have fallen. But magical items will have other things, and I have a few metals that are completely different. I don't want to use like the normal, all the stuff people talk about, adamantium and mithril and all this crap. So I have a few other metals just over there, and a couple of them have very interesting methods for forging them. But that's, like I said, a separate document. I don't know if that's coming to light in here. It may be a supplement for later on. I don't know. Oh, yeah, terrible retcons of plague tons. No, this one, I kind of just keep all this stuff in my mind because when we're writing all this stuff, like the Soul Forged, they don't exactly die, but they can go silent, and they can just go still and there's this whole place called the Silent Arete over here. It's just razor sharp, you know, rocks and everything in these lonely hills where these beings just walk and then stop, and they stop moving forever. Most of them. But there is a place in this world that is not only the place where the Soulforged originally lived and their people came from when they were still humans. It is the place where Grix did the things to him that he did to make them into the Soulforge. And it also was sort of the place where they got some of the information that allowed them to break the bond. But that place is really difficult to get to. But there are possibly answers there for anyone who decides to go there. But you have to be very powerful and kind of insane to go there. So, yeah, the legendary druid, she did go still and snapped out of it eventually. You just sit in a god's garden for long enough talking to him that he'll you know, wake you up. He'll snap you out of it. She figured it out. All right. Okay. So here, I'm seeing here in my notes, this is one of the areas that I just hit recently that I have to go back to. I named all the wards of the city, of the main city, but I have to go down and do these entries so you can see these highlighted bits. This is another thing I have to hit. And this is why I highlight this stuff in the document, because this is why I occasionally just go through a whole entry. I'm like, oh yeah. So, yeah, I have all the wards of the city, the Kreis Volk. It's the housing ward, the Kreis Var, the military ward, the Kreis Silver, the market ward, Kreis Auris, the royal ward, Kreis Ziren, the forge ward, and Kreis Buch, the scholarly ward of Starkad. Technically his prisoner, don't know. Was she? What is the better story in your mind? Because I'd have to go look at what I wrote up because I don't remember. All right, Care Thunder Axe. Where did I put Care Thunder Axe? I think it's off to the... Yeah, there's Care Thunder Axe, just on the back side. Okay. Ruled by the half-mad Thunder Axe clan, this imposing fortress and associated wayforce keep the pneumatic ore cords from breaching the kingdom's northern approach to Mount Silvermont. So these dwarves are... They've totally gone on the other end of being not too worried about their lines dying out. They're like, what are we going to do about it? We might as well make a name for ourselves. And, well, they have. The land where Care Thunder Axe resides is a mixture of old stone, new growth, and volcanic activity surrounding lush hills. The dwarves of the Thunder Axe land have carte blanche as to how they keep the orcs at bay within their domain. Mixture of raids and patrols along the walls, they constantly test their mettle against their wild foes. Not the most civilized of dwarves, after a prescribed stint of military service along the walls, these dwarves are then allowed to choose where they go next. Most stay to indulge their zeal for war, but some do choose the life of an adventurer. Care Bremen. This dwarven enclave is built into the rocky shores of a deep, dark highland lake. Oh, yeah, that's right, Care Bremen. I like Care Bremen. I don't remember Frost. It was ages ago, and I only read the synopsis that was sent to the artist. Well, I don't either, and I wrote it. I got tired of her and told her he was going to sleep so she could leave. My great-grandfather did that, and there were people he didn't care for. Boom! So in this one, I mean, I can literally go check it because I have the document right here if I really want to. If I really want to, I could load her document up right here. Yep, she is a Soulforged. She was disabled and spirited away at the Battle of the Crimson Skies. Now, her story is really important because the Battle of the Crimson Skies is where they figured out how to break the bond that Grix had over all of them, enslaving them and making them do horrendous things. She was disabled and spirited away at the Battle of the Crimson Skies by the goddesses Kika and Davila with the help of a group of dwarven priests. And this is why the dwarves got in so much trouble. Her self-destruct enchantments were disabled. She ended up being the very first Soulforge released from mindless servitude to Grix. Driven nearly mad by the realization of what she'd been made to do during the war as a Soulforged warrior, she was placed in the care of gentle Eridor, the god of nature. She spent years remaining still as a statue in his gardens while he worked, trying to process all that she'd done. He showed her his projects daily, adorned her stone shell with living things, spoke to her as a loved child, and finally managed to bring her out of her self-imposed catatonic state with his gentle, patient approach. She vowed to make up for her sins and now wanders the world of Erudia, planting living things and working to restore the natural balance anywhere the war had disrupted it. She abhors violence and will only fight to preserve nature, never wishing to go back to the mindless killing machine she was during the war. She works to atone for her many sins, since she, like many other Soulforged, are shunned by society, does this by attempting to heal the world. She's shrouded in a cape of spiderwebs hung with glittering crystals. A crown of undying blood-red flowers encircles her head. She carries a staff of polished gray wood, a gift from Arendor himself. Yeah. So she wasn't technically a prisoner. She was the first Soulforge that was severed from Grix. Seed. Well, she's basically a construct that has no biological parts to her, so she's planting things because she's a druid. Secret dwarf and orc lovers. Ew, no. They would have been probably disposed of by everybody around them if they found out. Like, oh, wow, okay, that's wrong. Kill them. Use unaligned tribes to protect the mountainous flanks. Dwarven mountaineers top-notch because they can counter the orcs' ability to traverse the high passes. So these dwarves are assigned. Well, they're not assigned, but their clans own the lands out there, and they try to keep everything safe. Because, well, it's not only honorable, but it's their lands. They don't want the freaking orcs in there, so the dwarves are just like, oh, by all means, have that side of the mountain. Keep the orcs north, okay? And you can do whatever you want. All right, so Caer Bremen is the dwarven enclave that's built on the rocky shores of a deep, dark highland lake. It serves as a deterrent to all attackers, forcing all of them to travel around its flanks to the main gate. The lake's perimeter is fortified with bulwarks and defenses all the way around, and a great squat defensive tower clings to the massive spire of rock in its center. So it's basically the approach to this entrance through the mountains is this lake that takes up this whole little valley that you have to go all the way around through their defenses. So it's like a tower defense scenario, but in the middle of this lake is this massive dwarven tower that's just sitting there with siege equipment things on top of it, just waiting for some idiot to come through. In all the history of Bremen, its doors have never been breached by foes, though Grix hordes got close once during the Godkiller War. The main doors bear those scars to this day, and they have left them scarred. They never fixed them. Because that is another thing about the dwarves. They're just like, they don't mind a little bit of damage to something. It shows everything has, weakness. But it didn't break. Caer Bremen once stood against the tribes of evil giants that attempted to flood into the southern Godlands, but it is mainly a peaceful outpost in the current age. So if somebody is like older dwarves are like, I'm gonna go post myself somewhere. Caer Bremen, I'll go sit on the shores of the lake and fish for the next 50 years until I die or something. Not very progressive and inclusive. Nope. Ha ha. Yeah, there's no secrets. Come on. There's no secrets. Okay. Why did I accidentally put a space there? I think I did. Caer Arthek. Look at all these things. All right. All right, the westernmost wasteland fortress guarding the mountain passes south and east to Silvermond. This fortress was once home to dragon riders who fought in the God-Killer War. So this is the Great Eyrie of dragon riders, which is a big deal because dragons were the firstborn of the gods. They don't really do that sort of thing. The areas lie silent now, as no dwarf has been born in the centuries with the ability to bond with or call a dragon mount. A skeleton crew of vigilant dwarven believers man the halls now, hoping that one day their order will be reborn. So, again, this is why I write things like this, because somebody who's a DM is like, oh, haven't they? Well, guess what? This guy was just born. He can call a dragon. Boom. Look, a dragon. See? Right there. Bam, a dragon right there showed up. Who ride the dragon? Well, it's okay. It's a lovely goth dwarf girl. Does that make it okay? The towers, every tower defense fanatic's wet dream. Yeah, magically fortified. Well, magically fortified somewhat because it is dwarven construction, but they also do have a lot of dwarven magic. Hello, Cajun Corey, and hello, DNS, and hello, Rory. Magically fortified. I like how you typed it, frosted. Like a faucet. Anyway, what was I writing here? Oh yeah, the Kaer Arthik thing. Yep. Kaer Silvermond, the fortress protects the capital from dangers coming from the Southlands, but also features a sprawling market and trade town built around its outer walls. This town is one of the only places where traders and buyers in the Eastern Godlands can purchase dwarven wares at reasonable prices, as exports tend to get severe markups as they travel south and westward. So, if you're down here somewhere in this part of the Godlands, you're like, I really want a piece of dwarven armor. And I want, or a dwarven blade or something. You can buy them around in these places for severe markups. If you go up here to Kaer Silvermond and make the huge, long trip, you're probably getting it cheaper. You get an adventure and a cheaper blade, maybe? Not sure about goths or dwarves. Listen to your proposition. Oh yeah, she's a lovely young woman. She just screams at the top of her lungs a lot. But other than that, she'll be fine. And she's never sure what she wants to eat. She'll just have some of what you're having. What? This is perfect. A goth dragon rider is very doable and possibly evil and or crazy. Oddly, Dragon just woke up from a dream where he turned into a dragon and seemed to be on good terms with dwarves. Hey, perfect. Well, you heard me talking about you. It's obviously what you were doing. You were hearing me thinking about this. Let's see. Tumuli. The dead were so numerous after the Great God-Killer War. Battles on the plains leading to Mount Silvermond. Or the God-Killer War battles on the plains leading to Mount Silvermond. The Great Tumuli. Hundreds of mass graves, as well as singular burrows to great heroes, were erected on the spot. Consecrated and blessed to allow the dead to rest forever in honor, monstrous creatures and good folk alike lie in silent legions beneath these man-made hills. Dwarven patrols and posted guards watch over the fields of barrows, but there are too few to guard all the graves, and over the last millennia, many have been looted. It's considered a great sin to steal from the dead, but that doesn't stop folk who have little fear of divine retribution now that the gods, in their minds, have abandoned Erudia. Because the gods left the lands and went to the lacunae, their little liminal spaces, and they watch from afar. Overlooking the tumuli from the road to Kaer Silvermond is the squat dwarven watchtower and attached underground guard barracks, housing a company of dwarven scouts and runners. They watch the roads and the tumuli for threats and are ready to send for help at a moment's notice. So, I gotta fix one thing here. This is a heading 5. This one needs a heading 5. Boom. There we go. Halden. It looks like it's got the wrong. The wrong font. I wonder how they got the wrong font. Strange. Let's see. Dwarves allow foreigners to join their defensive forces. Yeah, they do have other people from other nations, and sometimes they have deals, and other people have deals with different groups that bring people who have committed crimes, who can commute their crime by serving a certain amount of time in one of the dwarven border forts. That is what Piotr did, but I mean, he is a dwarf, so it's okay that he was there. Would you deny a dragon who wants to be in your army? Well, or wants to set up his lair. I was doing my daily Sudoku. Did you Sudoku? So you want a girlfriend? Is that what I was getting out of it, Frost? Goths punch you. No. They're mean like that. This is all for Dragon's benefit. All right. Kerhalden, where the road... Oh, I said, where the road splits to enter Los Valara, sloping downwards into the valley below, Kerhalden sits, lording over the cliffs. A dwarven outpost and rookery, it serves as further guard against the dark things that call Los Valara and the Whitewood home, as well as offering a rest for travelers heading along the road to Starkad. By no means a luxury stop-off, it does, however, boast a fine mead hall and passable rooms, though they are subterranean, so not to the liking of all folk. Kerhalden is known for also for the collection of giant skulls, as well as their oversized arms and armaments that adorn their walls. So Kerhalden is basically a it's an interesting place to go, because you can, if you were a tourist trap type person and you had a phone, you could go up and get your picture taken next to a giant skull with your head sticking out of the eye sockets or something. Like, oh, look at that. Would be entertaining. Yes, penal allegiance. It must suck to be a necromancer. Well, the reason that it does suck to be a necromancer is because there's also the Tower of Dusk right here with the Whitewood. Now, the Tower of Dusk is where they train people in the use of magic to fight the undead. But to fight the undead, they learn how to create undead. So they create them to destroy them, and then they understand it. But there are no shortage of necromancers and undead creatures, because Narrow's Keep, the Lost City of Rosecrest, Eldwin, Lundale, the whole Broken Fang, everything. This is nothing but a hive of undead everywhere. The Villa Nocturna, the Paladin Order, sent us paladins here. They patrol this whole area, keeping the area free of the undead. The Tower of Dusk up here trains people to fight the undead, because there's just such a strong undead presence, and lycanthropes here. So this place is a dark, dark, dark stain in the center of the Godlands. There's the Wailing Spire, there's Rook's Roost, there's a whole bunch of other little subplots going on here. There's like, there's an artifact out here that summons undead to it. It doesn't create them, but it sends out like a call almost, so it's just basically calling undead to it that people may have to deal with at some point. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening over there. And one of my favorite places for the dwarves, Five Falls. This dwarven outpost is home to a host of dwarves and gnomes that tend to dabble in magic and industrial pursuits best kept distant from the dwarven capital. It is also where fire sand was invented, the stuff that is used in Piotr's bombs. If you played the rogue in the Legend Seeker playtest, this is generally where a lot of the people who use those bombs and things get fire sand, unless you're Piotr and you know how to make it. Where it's testing, so it's also where fire sand was invented, and where its testing splintered the headland above the city, once known as Three Falls, resulting in the formation of 2 additional waterfalls above the city and the renaming of the place. So, if you don't mind a lot of noise and fun, go to Five Falls, folks. Someday it could be 6 falls. Someday it could blow up the whole thing and it'd just be one waterfall. It's called One Fall. This is for my benefit. All things are for my benefit. Turn on blurps so I can play Boots in your ears. I can't do anything about blurps on this channel. I'm assuming, I don't know. How does that work, Croissant? Do you have to... I thought it was the same blurp stuff. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Give dragon bombs. They give dragon bombs now. Well, you could technically take them and fly and drop them on people. That is true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the blurps thing works. If they have to be activated for specific streams? I didn't think so. I thought it was channel-wide. Croissant would have to say. Well, we don't want to wear out her typing voice. Huh. I love that how it says, member, 2 years. I have absolutely no idea how they're set up. Why does it say member, 2 years next to your name? That is so weird. Golf girls punch you? Oh, boo-hoo, a beautiful woman is touching you. Yeah, well. There's not even worse like a certain type of people. No. They're just short. A puppy play kinkback. Ew, VJJ, gross. Yeah, at one point, I won't recount the entire story because it's just weird, but I was with friends at a bar and this girl came over and asked for a light of her cigarette, and I did. And I'm trying to remember because there were 2 different times. Oh, because she was all, oh, this is right. This is the girl who I was just like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh, thank you very much. And I was like, you know, you can just have this lighter. I don't smoke. Then you don't have to keep bugging me about it. And she just looked at me and she still had the lit cigarette between her fingers and she just punched me in the chest and then left and never talked to me again. And I was like, the hell did I do? And it turns out she was coming over to get a light because she was just like me. I was like, oh, I'm really good at this. So I'm smart. First time there's an error, so I copy paste and actually got the member badge. Oh, nice. Copy paste what I typed already. What? I like it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so if I copy, so I'm curious what it says here. Huh? Okay, yeah, catch us some stuff. That's kind of funny. The typing. Yeah, I have no idea how the blurpy stuff works. I'm assuming you can't. Well, I don't know if you can blurp. Did you try? Flirting, yeah, whatever. Flirting, I don't get it. Did you try to send one, Dragon? It just didn't work. I mean, goth into a gimmick. Give me the goths who ran off with the Romans. Wait, wrong goths! Wrong goths! Okay, there we go. I have no clue how they work. I think Erudia has to turn them on for the specific stream, so not sure if you'd be able to hear them. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, because I think I have mine just enabled for my channel. So yeah, I guess that makes sense, because he doesn't want them on like gaming channels. He doesn't want people getting interrupted by blurps all of a sudden. So yeah. Oh, you had to walk me through putting the link in OBS so I could hear them too. Okay. So they'll have it on for the horror streams, off for the strange eons. Right. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like it. Alrighty, let's see, where was that? I went through 5 falls. That's still fine. I don't need to change anything. Because Piotr isn't from here. He's from over there. Okay, so the River of Gold, as opposed to the River of Silver that supposedly flows out from Mount Silvermon, The dwarves have regular convoys of riches which return to the mountain from their colonies and traders. Referred to by most other races as the River of Gold, a dwarven caravan is always a sight to see. They've been attacked in the past, but none have yet been sacked by mortals. One is rumored to have been destroyed and looted by a particularly nasty dragon in years past, though. Rumors swirl in taverns that the dwarves are mounting, there we go, an expedition to reclaim not only their wealth, but to fell the great beast and loot its hoard. Look out, dragon. They're coming for ya. Boop. And, whoops, I went to the wrong tab here. I will go to here. I will go to here. We will go to this. All right, we'll save that there. Bam, saved. Turn on the filter. It removes copyrighted material from being played. Ah, that makes sense. I think I have stronger restrictions on my channel than Erudia does. JT and Nerd don't have any restrictions. Well, I don't want you saying anything poopy. Good thing his are not copyrighted. That is true. His are... Yeah, I'd have to look and see what kind of stuff I have on mine. Yeah, I'd have to go look at it and see. I don't know. Off the top of my head. Speak his name and he appears. I only brought copyrighted stuff to avoid AI strikes. What? Who take horde? That's my teriyaki ramen. Dragon kill. It was just a bunch of golden mushrooms. Lurker. Oopie, no, just a fart for now. Thanks for Santamum. Fart Santamum. That's great. That's why you can't play your favorite death song anymore. Ah, got it. Ah, okay. Well, now we know why they can't do a blurp over here. I understand now. Whee! They were using your voice and Crescent's voice in my stream earlier when I was playing Subnautica to just torment me, Erudia. Torment me. Oh, yeah. You're dead, blah, 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 blah. Yep, that is a good one. Portobellas. Don't worry, I'm sure there's some hideous, gross, woody mushroom that only dwarves would like. You wouldn't like them. Yeah, it's fine. You can hand them over. We don't do blurps on any streams except the Whisky streams. Too disruptive. Well, there you go. There's your answer, folks. I knew you didn't do it on the gaming streams. I knew that. Let's see. All right, we got that down. Okay. It's funny that you're talking about mushrooms too, because one of the things that the dwarves are known for is their version of a pemmican, which is a super dense mushroom pemmican. Super dense. All right. Many gnomish enclaves throughout the Godlands, most of them safely within the borders of larger kingdoms. Two notable exceptions are Deru and Hauf. Hauf is situated along the southern coast of the Soulspires, and enclave dates back to just before the Godkiller War. Gnomish kings and queens have kept their small city-states safe through the centuries by making clever treaties, ensuring their products are uniquely desirable throughout the Godlands. Namely, the travel rations they produce, which have an amazingly long larder life. The fact that they don't taste half bad is a godsend to sailors who manage to get their hands on them. Elf is built on the hills overlooking the coast, protected by earthen ramparts, ditches, and sturdy wooden fortifications of cunning make. The lands around Half are fertile and sheltered from the worst of the sea storms by the sweeping headland and enjoy a robust growing season. These small folks have an extensive fishing fleet, and their vessels can be found a dozen miles or more from the shore year-round, pulling in their catch from the teeming waters on the shelf of the Umbral Sea. Whee! Mushroom pemmican, well, you can make leather out of it. Oh, it's so tasty. You just take a bite. They'll feed a grown man for a day. And then you eat 8. Your favorite death song is Crystal Mountain. I don't know it. Super dense, just like Erudia. Wah wah. Dwarves hand over their beardless women and will talk about their mushrooms. It's a bark of with the hairless dog in the next building. Yappy Poodle. Wow, I want to find somebody with a dog named Yappy Poodle. This my dog is named Yappy Poodle. Their place where someone at Mythic can see where the info for classes and races currently for playtesting are. It's hard to find info to see what I'm going to play Saturday. Oh. 25 miles south of the headland is a rocky isle that resembles a massive shark fin. Shark Fin Point. It is a favorite crabbing ground and tuna fishing area for the small folk of Howth. Oh, that's right. I forgot we put Shark Fin Point out here. Oh, yeah. All right. We got all kinds of fun stuff out here. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Widely believed that one can catch elusive soft-shell crabs more easily around the isle when Kika's moon is full, but this is generally regarded as an old wives' tale. When Grix's moon is full, the waters teem with bioluminescent man-o'-wars and other dangerous creatures. So don't go out there. Don't go out there when Grix's moon is up. You're going to get stung. That will all be provided. Okay. Beardless dwarves. That's heresy. Which days were the Legend Seeker tests? This Saturday or next Saturday? Won't be starting this weekend. We'll do a session 0 where all that will be handed out. Cool. Let's see. It's rumored that a secret location is revealed on the island, but both moons are full. Harkening back to the story about the twin deities playing on their secret island when they ran away from their parents and exasperated peers, all tired of their constant pranks. So, yep, that's right. I forgot when we wrote that up. Shark Fin Point is where Kika and Grix would go play when they were young as gods. It was their secret hideout spot, supposedly. Looking forward to stumbling through the new system. Yay! Which day is the bi-weekly one? I hope to play again during the play edition. Talking about a private game using Legend Seeker that will be happening on Saturday nights. Huh. Okay. I just got a note from my friend. It's my one of my brother's birthdays today. You know, it's his 111th birthday. It's not his 111th, but you know. People are weird. Okay. My friends are just so crazy. They're weird. My brother's, since it was a run up to his birthday yesterday, we were chatting about just stories about middle school and high school and different buildings and things that are still there and things that aren't there. And my brothers used to work summers at the school for a job, and they would do they'd remove the wax from like the old wooden floors in the gymnasiums and then have to, you know, they'd scrape it down and then they'd have to put it down again. And they hated it, but they did it because it was money. They were just telling stories constantly. So by text messages from yesterday in our group chats were just like, because I have a bunch of brothers. Reminiscing. So much work. Anyway. We get to play tonight. Yeah, I guess we do. Just 72nd birthday on Saturday. I'm taking all the convictions tonight. Well, nice. 72nd, huh? You little spring chicken, you. Yeah, assuming that Erudia doesn't update the game and everything explodes and we can't play, you know, we'll be fine. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I think after this, after we're done here, I'm going to play Subnautica 2 for a little bit before hopping over to the game tonight. So, yeah, after this, I'll be doing some of that. Oh, hey, Erudia, real quick. There was a question about what ores and stuff we had for, the different people. Now, I just mentioned that pretty much everything will be normally just steel unless we have other stuff. And I don't know if you're planning on doing adamantium and the traditional stuff. Those are obviously they're there. People use them. They're sort of done to death. But I have some other notes of different types of ore and ways of doing stuff that we could use. But I don't know if that's normal, regular book material, if that's the setting guide material, or if that's something for future we'll add, or if we just want to skip it. So you'll have to let me know what your thoughts on that are. We're slogging over Africa. Foot, slogging over Africa. Boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Big assumption. Big. It's the biggest assumption. I don't say it, but other people say it. All right, what were we doing here? Oh, Daru. I was going to talk about the gnome thing. I've got a little bit of time. I'm almost through this whole section of the book here, and everything makes sense. It's there. It doesn't conflict with the lore changes I made to the when a couple of cities were founded and what things happened during the history of Fryland. So that's good. Anytime I hear this, it disturbs me. Just a very visceral reaction. I don't know. It's the guy who did it. The voice of the version that I listened to is just like, it's kind of like if you've ever listened to T.S. Eliot read the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock or The Wasteland in his voice recordings. That's quite a voice. He's got kind of that transatlantic voice, but also he's just a thin person. You can tell by his voice. And it's got such a just strange cadence and sound to it. It's like, wow. Favorite poem is Kipling one? Ah, okay. I don't know. I have trouble picking out a very favorite poem. I love Robert Frost, but I also love Billy Collins. And T.S. Eliot is just astounding. It's one of my favorite classes I ever had in college. It was a graduate level T.S. Eliot class. It was just... I was talking with my friend, and she's like, oh, I used to leave that class with a headache. And I'm like, me too. And that's unusual. It's just like... I'm having trouble processing everything we talked about. It's just amazing. It was such a good class. Good stuff. Gods of the Copybook Headings. Read it in high school and loved it. I'd have to go find it. You'd have to go find it again. I tried to find a new tab here so I could go look it up. And it tried to attach it. All right, what do we got here? Yeah, one of my favorite poems. It's a modern one. It's not my favorite poem, but if you've ever read Billy Collins, he was our poet laureate at one point. Um, he's a weird dude, but he's just an amazing poet. Is a poem called Litany by Billy Collins. There, go find it if you want it. In some places you can find him reading it because he did it. He read it at a whole bunch of places. It's pretty entertaining stuff. All right. What was I reading? Daru, south of Las Salacia, on the opposite side of the mountains from the caustic strand, lies the gnomish fortress mine of Daru. Right here. Right here. It's not hiding anymore. It's right there. Built with the assistance of dwarves long ago. This is why I read through these, because I gotta fix some grammar. This complex of mines is a source of iron, copper, and tin for many traders across the Godlands. No, that works. Once a vassal colony of Mount Silbermond, the gnomish leaders brokered a trade agreement with the dwarves and worked off their debt, becoming independent a few centuries ago. Daru is flourishing, and they have started their own trade in metal goods for the shipbuilding industry, not only in nearby Port Castra, as well as Seabreak Haven and Folos further up the coast. Right. Here we go. It works. Daru, those enterprising little gnomes. Ross is growing Anzio. Didn't until everyone here started talking about it. It's very old. The guy makes it sound like he's going insane. Yeah, that it's very high pitched. Well, I mean, it's the one that you can hear in those things. It's normally it does sound like the guy's going insane because, well, there you go. Is all right. All right. um, I am disturbed by something that someone just sent to me. I'm gonna send it to you, Chrysanth, but if you want to keep your sanity and everything, don't send it to Erudia. I was like, what do they mean? I'm like, oh, that's not who I thought that meant. Oh, okay, because I had to think through it because I didn't know the comic. But then it dawned on me suddenly what was happening near the end of the sequence. So I'm like, okay. Anyway, aside from that, so we've gone through all of the entries in Fryland to reconcile them with any changes I made to the story of Ogden and Marka and whatnot, because I originally had Freiburg, the fortress of Freiburg overlooking the lake here, be the original capital, but then I switched everything around, and the original capital was over here in it was a small village over here between these places. It's no longer there, and they moved out and actually had a real place in Göteborg and everything. So I had to reconcile that, and I fixed a few things through all these little areas. There are a lot of entries in Fryland because it's a large place. And then we reconciled a few things in the dwarven areas. I fixed one of the things I had in here, said this is the easternmost dwarven fortress. I'm like, wait, I pulled a moss. Westernmost fortress. Yes. And now Chrysanth is like dying slowly inside after she saw that. That's okay. That's all right. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You're going to be okay. All right. Kiru has 2 quotes under it. So, overcome yourself first is a Kiranese saying. Basically, the implication is before you go try and fight someone else, you better figure yourself out first. Ugh. Yes, exactly. I saw it and I'm thinking, it just gets worse and worse. Especially with what it was. So, yeah. Yeah, basically, if you listen to the intro, or if you listen to it, you can see him recording it. He would occasionally get poems from people, and he would be jokingly like, "Here, let me fix that for you. I like this as an idea." And it was kind of a joke send off of somebody being kind of overwrought, like you are the bread and the knife, blah 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 blah, and then going down that road. Okay, why my phone going so slowly? What's going on here? I just got more messages. Nothing important. Gotta answer this. Oh man, I can write words. All right. Oh boy, it is almost time to go, isn't it? All right. So, the second one is the dead do not sleep in Kiru. Statement of fact, as it is tradition for all dead to be incinerated or for their remains to be taken to the Morning Rock due to their distrust of the ancient necromancers of Xanatha. Just go east. I'd go west to get to the eastern shore. Well, it's a long walk, but it works. Oh no, this world totally flat. Cats knocking things off the edge of it constantly. It's a bother. It's a great bother. All right. Well, I have to go take a phone call. So I'm technically going to end a minute or 2 early here because this is what I do. Hey, perfect. I'm heading out as well. So I will talk to you all later. For anybody who is here that is in my late night game with Erudia, I'll see you there. And anybody who's going to come watch me stream Subnautica in a little while, I'll see you over there. So I'll talk to you all later. Leave a like and a comment, and I will see you doing the same thing again here on Moonskull next Tuesday. So go check out our Patreon for Legend Seeker, and I will talk to you all later.